clean freaks. This is Hank Balch. You are watching episode 1 of our Beyond Clean Vendor Management Expert Series, the video series. And we're going to be talking to two of our experts in this series. We've got a tag team, a dynamic duo of vendor management experts. And the first one that we're going to be introducing you to on this episode is Matt Rechin, the Chief Commercial Officer of ReadySet Surgical. And he also goes by Rex, so we're going to be calling him Rex in this series. Welcome to the show today, Rex.
Thanks for having me, Hank. Good to see you.
So, Rex, we're kicking off this episode 1 on the topic of revenue and how it's potentially leaking in this loaner tray process that everyone's so focused on today. So, maybe let's start and just say, why is that a big deal when revenue's leaking in this process?
Yeah, it is a great question. And, in today's world of healthcare, as you know, many hospitals have kind of maxed out all of the pricing initiatives that they can. So, given some of the financial duress that hospitals have been dealing with, they're now often turning their attention to non-price initiatives to get a better idea as to how they can better reduce costs and prevent or stop revenue leakage. One of the places that they can do that is down in the SPD. And as you know, significant amount of revenue is going through the SPD every day based on number of trays that are going through there, number of vendors that are coming in, things of that nature. So really what's going on is that you have the opportunity to identify potential sources of revenue leakage that will have a direct impact on the hospital's bottom line financial performance.
And so, Rex, you say the hospitals are paying attention to this, but maybe let's get a little bit more specific. In the hospital setting, whose responsibility is it to be watching and capturing the surgical revenue, or stemming the leakage, if you will?
Everyone in the line of helping a hospital be successful plays a role in surgical revenue. For our listeners out there, oftentimes a hospital, over 60% of a hospital's op profit is directly attributed to what's going on in the OR and in surgery. Certainly a significant amount of cost is coming out of the OR. Hospitals, generally from a management point of view, a lot of them now have the SPD reporting into whether it be peri-op or into the OR. So first, I would say everybody can play a part in helping drive greater surgical success, surgical revenue success, but particularly for the SPD, it oftentimes ends up reporting up to the OR. So that can be in either through OR business or perioperative leadership.
So what does this practically look like? If SPD were to be watching this and saying, okay, that's right, there's a lot of revenue that's coming through and there is some potential leakage going on, but what part do I have to play in SPD? What does that actually mean on the ground level?
Absolutely. So from an SPD point of view, really every day, all of those cases that are coming in, there are opportunities to prevent or stop revenue leakage. A lot of that is driven by inefficient loaner management. And when I say that, I mean inefficiencies driven by lack of visibility into what's coming, having to add significant overtime for trays that are being delivered late, add-on cases that are causing trays to come in at the last minute, surgical tray intensity where we're bringing in significantly more trays that are going to be used. As you know, once those trays go up to the OR and they're opened, then that carries their own amount of cost. These are all things that for years and years and years have been kind of, that's the way we've always done it. But in today's day and age, if you really want to get to the bottom of ways to improve financial performance, you should begin with looking at how do we handle loaner trays and how are we best maximizing efficiencies in our SPD.
Now, Rex, you use a term that I had not heard before, and I think I know what it means, but I want you maybe to define it a little bit more. You said surgical tray intensity. Are you talking about just the number of trays that are being brought into cases, or can you kind of contextualize that a little bit more here for us?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, actually. We hear this term more and more often from many of our ReadySet clients across the country. Surgical tray intensity is really trays per case. Think about it as trays per case. And the reason that we bring it up is that if you look, there seems to be a wide variance in from vendor to vendor on how many trays are being brought in for specific kinds of cases. So just as an example, I'll throw out some vendor names. I'm not; these are just examples. But let's just say typically, if you're going to do a total knee, and it's a striker total knee, the striker rep may bring in 15 trays at one location, but in another part of the state at a different hospital, a striker rep may be bringing in 6 trays for that same knee. So hospitals are trying to gain better visibility into how many trays do we actually need? Some of that goes back to preference cards and things like that. However, when you talk about surgical tray intensity, it's really being able to identify what are the trays that are really needed in order for us to complete this case successfully. And, vendors on the other side, they're saying, my job is to make sure that the surgeon has everything that the surgeon needs, which is totally understandable. All we're trying to find in there is that happy medium of the rep is delivering the number of trays that are most required, and the surgeon has the trays, devices, instruments, implants, etc., that lead to the best and healthiest outcome.
Yeah, well, that mission accomplished on this episode one, Rex, on just educating me, especially. And I'm not even the primary audience here, right? We're really speaking of frontline sterile processing techs out there, but just giving that language in those categories that helps us contextualize the impact that what we're doing in SPD to this revenue push to capture and to sustain revenue. We're going to talk about that, I know, more uh, in future episodes. But this is a great kickoff to the series, Rex. And for everyone who's tuning in, stay tuned here for episode 2 because you're going to meet our second vendor management expert here from the ReadySet Surgical team, Matt Strunk. And in between now and then, if you like what you heard, go connect with these guys through LinkedIn. We'll have contact information in the description of this episode, in the text below. And make sure to follow all of our channels across social media so that you can see these videos come out each and every month in the next 12 months. So, Rex, thank you again for your time, and we'll talk to your team again soon.